That's what I like to see. Pockets getting hit hard, bro. Hard. Because somebody need to hold these players accountable for the stupidity they have been putting out.
Go to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now, here's the kicker to me. A flagrant 2 has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks excessive. DJonai, it was about as excessive as possible. If there was any evidence of there being white privilege, this was not it. What the hell do y'all think?
Now, it states here, Reebok is reportedly dropping their endorsement for DJonai Carrington after she attacked Sophie Cunningham.
This is it. DJ Carrington is on the verge of absolutely detonating her entire endorsement empire, and here's the kicker. She's the one holding the match. We're not talking about a slow burn, guys. This is a full-blown inferno unfolding in real time, right in front of every camera, every social media feed, and every single fan. The stunning truth. A multi-million-dollar deal, the kind that can define a star's career, is teetering on the edge of oblivion, all thanks to a series of shockingly reckless decisions she made on the court and in front of a microphone over the course of just one unbelievably chaotic week. Get ready, because the fallout from this is going to shake the entire league.
Look at this here. Reebok is reportedly dropping their endorsement for DJonai Carrington after she attacked Sophie Cunningham. Okay, and a bunch of people are saying this is true. You know, I don't know, but here it says, perfect. Good job, Reebok, for having a morals clause in her contract and enforcing it by pulling it. Carrington is a bully that the league apparently is protecting. Wake up, WNBA, before someone really gets hurt. You'll get sued because we Americans won't stand for this abuse. Do you agree with me?
But here's where it gets absolutely wild. The whispers coming out of Reebok are turning into a roar. They're reportedly scrambling, looking to cut ties with Carrington, and the name being floated as her potential replacement. None other than Sophie Cunningham. Yes, asterisk that Sophie Cunningham, the very player Carrington has spent the last 7 days systematically fouling, bumping, and making controversial comments about, almost as if she owed her money or had some deep-seated personal vendetta. This isn't just a business decision. It's a direct, undeniable response to a public relations nightmare, and it reveals just how quickly an athlete's brand can crumble when their actions contradict everything a sponsor stands for. Who could have possibly predicted, even a few months ago, that these two names would become so inextricably linked, not by rivalry on the court, but by a shoe deal that could financially obliterate one of them?
It's just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant 2, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant 2. There is wind up, there is follow through, there's potential for injury.
Without
Sophie
question.
Cunningham in a vulnerable position in the air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question.
WNBA player DJonai Carrington of the Chicago Sky was ejected after a flagrant 2 foul on Sophie Cunningham in last night's WNBA game. As you saw from the video, Sophie was going for a fast break layup when DJonai decided it would be a good idea to go after her head instead of the ball. So that obviously prompted the flagrant 2. The referees take a look at it and she was ejected, and a lot of people are calling for her suspension after this.
So how did we get here? Reebok signed Carrington with huge expectations, banking on her to be a vibrant, marketable face for their basketball division. Brands don't just pay for skill. They invest in personality and appeal in that intangible quality that makes people want to connect with an athlete and by extension their product. They're paying for the perception, the feeling, the aspirational image. And for a while, Carrington delivered. But lately, the feeling she's been generating is anything but positive. It's been polarizing, it's been aggressive, and it's been, frankly, a liability. And what most fans don't realize is that brands, with their millions of dollars on the line, are hyper-tuned to these shifts in public sentiment, often noticing the change long before the average viewer even processes it. They're watching, they're listening, and right now, what they're seeing from DJ Carrington is a ticking time bomb.
Because of the timeline of everything, and because of, if you want to call it the jealous nature, the legitimate hatred for somebody because of what they believe in and because of what they look like and because of how popular they are, I could say it's a targeted attack.
Yeah, oh, clearly. I mean, I think most people believe that.
But then on top of that, you know, it's not only white privilege she puts out there. She puts the next, in our next post, she puts the game date of the next time they're going to play the Fever. Yep. I mean, that's almost like, it feels to me.
Now listen to this part, because this is where the pattern truly emerged. In the span of a single jaw-dropping week, Carrington racked up 3 separate fouls that had everyone, from casual fans to seasoned analysts, rewinding the footage in disbelief. These weren't your typical physical hustle plays. These were the kind of aggressive, almost targeted actions that make you wince. Forget about fighting for position. These were plays that looked like they were designed to send a message, and not a friendly one. And every single one of them inexplicably found its way to Sophie Cunningham. You know what's wild? 1, coincidence is just bad luck. 2, starts to look suspicious. But 3 in the same handful of games, that's not a coincidence anymore. That's a pattern, a deliberate choice, and it set the stage for the absolute chaos that followed.
DJonai with another signature move yet again versus the Valks tonight.
And then she put both hands up.
Damn. What is she doing with her left hand? Look at her left hand. Just boom, let me just poke you in the eye real quick. What is this goofball, uncoordinated individual doing, poking somebody in the eye with their hands up? Hands up. Dude, this is so bad. Hands up. Swipe for the ball with our right hand while poking the player in the eye with the left hand. You really can't make this stuff up.
Look, nobody is asking players to go soft out there. Physicality has always been a cornerstone of what makes this league so compelling to watch. But there's a massive, undeniable difference between playing tough and playing recklessly, between competitive fire and outright hostility. And a consensus quickly formed online. Carrington had crossed that line not once, but repeatedly in a shockingly short period. This wasn't a single bad night she could apologize for and move past. This was a glaring, undeniable pattern of behavior. And patterns, let me tell you, are exactly the kind of red flag that a brand's marketing and legal teams zero in on when they're deciding which high-value athletes get to continue representing their multi-million-dollar image on national television. Because a brand can survive a bad game, but they cannot survive a toxic public image.
DJonai decided to post from the locker room on Threads saying white privilege. Cunningham herself admitted that she's been ejected for the exact same thing before and deserved it. But yet that card got played in seconds before the ejection even cooled off. And now a sitting state attorney general just told an entire professional league that he will treat their hardest fouls as criminal assault. Florida doesn't even have a WNBA team. This is literally a warning, not a jurisdiction, people. You fucking clotheslined her. And I would be saying this about anybody, regardless of what the fuck they look like. But literally, right when the WNBA was really starting to become exciting.
Then came the interview. This is where a basketball story exploded into something far, far bigger than the game itself. After facing justified scrutiny for her on-court actions, Carrington didn't de-escalate. Instead of simply acknowledging the aggression and moving on, she dropped the phrase white privilege while discussing Cunningham. Think about that for a second. This took a purely athletic conversation about fouls and instantly weaponized it, transforming it into a loaded, deeply divisive debate about intent, motive, and the complex web of social issues that come bundled with such a heavy phrase. Whether you agree with her comment or not, whether you believe it had any place in that conversation, one thing is undeniably true. It irrevocably altered the narrative overnight. And not in a way that garnered her any sympathy or helped her struggling public image with anyone watching from the outside.
She's gonna do. She didn't see the clip. You know what, DJonai, she is a hell of a player. She's a great defender, and so she coached her for I don't know how many years up in Connecticut. So give her flowers, and she didn't see it, and that's okay. Me and Steph are great. Steph is great with all of us, and so it's really the outside noise that's trying to distract us, but we're good.
And through all of this, the most striking element of the entire saga is Sophie Cunningham's response, or rather, her lack thereof. She hasn't fired back with insults, hasn't engaged in the online drama, hasn't thrown a single verbal punch. Instead, she's just kept playing, kept showing up, and let her composed performance speak for itself, a strategy she's employed effectively against other noise and controversies this season. That stark contrast is precisely what ignited the fury online. Why is one player constantly embroiled in drama while the other, the one absorbing the hits, maintains such remarkable composure? It's a simple visual, a powerful narrative. One player throwing the hits and getting loud, the other getting hit and staying quiet. People notice that. Brands notice it even faster. Social media, of course, absolutely erupted. One tweet that went viral stated, Reebok still has DJ Carrington on an endorsement deal after she cheap shots Sophie Cunningham and screams white privilege. That's not an athlete. That's a liability. Drop her or America drops you. That wasn't just a fan venting. That was a direct, unapologetic challenge to a major brand, daring them to pick a side. And judging by the overwhelming replies, hundreds of thousands of people agreed, sharing old clips, past comments, and building a devastating case against Carrington's continued endorsement.
Carrington is on the brink of being dropped by Reebok, and let me tell you what, man, this is not good for DJonai Carrington at all. And then you have this going on as well. Thousands demand Reebok drop DJonai Carrington after brutal attack on Sophie Cunningham. Hold her accountable. I firmly support Reebok dropping DJonai Carrington's endorsement. Okay, so a lot of people are, getting behind this thing, and DJonai Carrington is on the brink of potentially losing millions of dollars with sponsorship. Here it says breaking thousands of people are calling Reebok to drop. This thing is everywhere, man. This thing is everywhere. So
this is the kind of headline brands dread seeing attached to their name, because it's not just a fleeting moment of online outrage. It's snowballing into an actual organized movement. Consumers are openly declaring they will boycott Reebok products entirely if Carrington remains on their roster. When customers start threatening a financial boycott over one athlete's behavior, that's the precise moment a marketing department stops debating internally and starts scrambling for a crisis solution. Because lost sales, quarter after quarter, are infinitely harder to explain away in an earnings call than a controversial foul is to rationalize on a highlight show. The stakes are no longer about sportsmanship. They're about the bottom line, and for Reebok, that line is blinking bright red.
She said she never once claimed that the assessment of the foul was white privilege. That was your assumption. All I could say is, if you are posting during the game, is my understanding, it doesn't take a genius to connect the two together. Sure, it's very vague, and that's kind of the criticism of this whole thing. It's a vague critique that has no relevance to what transpired. There was nothing about what transpired that had anything to do with white privilege. It's really that simple, right? I don't got nothing personally against her. I hate that her game doesn't have her in the spotlight right now, because she had been playing pretty well. She had the Sky on a 3-1 record with her returning. This is just an L across the board for her, and she just continues to double down on it. And I like what Acho said. The rarest W for him. He said, the burden is on you for being clear, direct, and easy to understand. She left so much room for people to take that a million different directions. People that were supporting her were taking it a million different directions than she probably meant. And her inability to just chalk it up to, hey, I was frustrated, I had a lot of things on my mind, and I post that, I shouldn't have made that post. That would have gotten her a lot more grace. But doubling down on this nonsense, I don't get it. I don't get why people support it, but hey, y'all got it.
In an attempt to douse the flames, Carrington did try to walk some of it back. There was a carefully worded statement, some softer comments to reporters, a desperate effort to reframe the entire mess as nothing more than heated competition, certainly not anything personal or intentional. On paper, this is usually the playbook. Own it, soften it, move forward, and let your next great performance do the talking. But this backtrack landed with a resounding thud. Why? Because it came after asterisk 3 highly scrutinized fouls, and after asterisk 1 incredibly inflammatory comment. Not after a single forgivable mistake. Once a pattern is established, once those slow motion clips are circulating across every platform, a solitary apology simply cannot undo the cumulative damage of 3 separate, highly publicized incidents stacked on top of each other in the exact same week. The narrative was already set, and the trust was already broken.
If you are going to suggest that we should think critically about a statement white privilege when you at the Indiana Fever, you didn't give us much to think critically about. We, the interpreter, now have to try to figure out what exactly were you talking about. Well, common sense would deduce that you were talking about fouling a white individual and getting ejected for fouling that white individual. Now, as I said on social media, and I will say in real life, if that is not what you were talking about implying, then that's on me. I will stand down and I will stand corrected. But the last thing I must again reiterate, so many people have asked you amongst others, well then what are you talking about? We still have yet to get a response. All that DJonai, you have told us is, hey, I wasn't talking about the foul. Well then, what were you talking about? I refuse to believe, on behalf of everybody that is confused, we're not all idiots and you are the one genius in the room. That's just not the case. So I say this with all respect. I respect your intelligence. I respect your response. And you currently on the court hooping, so respect to you. But there's still a lot of errors in your thought process and thought pattern.
And that brings us to the core problem from a purely business standpoint, completely separate from the ethical debate about who was right or wrong on the court. Analysts consistently point out that endorsement deals live and die on one simple question. Is this person somebody the average customer genuinely wants to see representing a brand they buy from? Skill gets you the initial offer, absolutely. But relatability, integrity, and public trust are what sustain that deal once the cameras are rolling for reasons beyond a highlight reel. Right now, based on this past week's catastrophic events, that trust in Carrington is looking shakier than ever before. And shaky trust is exactly the trigger that sends a brand quietly shopping around for a replacement, even while the current deal might still be technically active on paper. Which, unbelievably, brings us right back to Sophie Cunningham. And why her name, specifically, is being floated as a replacement, not some random, less controversial athlete. Cunningham already has a significant signature situation brewing with Adidas, which would normally make her an impossible candidate for a Reebok deal due to direct competition. But according to reports, Reebok is allegedly willing to get incredibly creative here, structuring a deal that would allow Cunningham to maintain her Adidas shoe presence while still bringing her into the Reebok family in some capacity. This is nothing short of a public peace offering, aimed directly at the furious fans demanding a change. It's an unprecedented setup, and it screams desperation, telling you exactly how badly Reebok wants to repair its image, quickly and publicly, before more customers walk away for good.
Thousands of people are calling Reebok to drop. This thing is everywhere, man. This thing is everywhere. So DJonai Carrington, man, on the brink of losing it all. And you just did too much. I mean, a flagrant foul was enough, but the whole white privilege thing, nasty and uncalled for.
Think about how truly bizarre that is for a second. A brand is reportedly willing to literally share space with a direct competitor just to bring in an athlete who represents the polar opposite of what's currently causing them a multi-million-dollar public relations nightmare. That's not a casual gesture. That's a brand admitting without a single press release that keeping their current athlete is doing more catastrophic damage than any lost exclusivity ever would. When a company starts bending its own long-standing rules and traditions just to win back customer trust, it universally means that their internal numbers, their projected losses, and their internal PR audits are far, far worse than anything they're willing to admit publicly to reporters or shareholders. And for Carrington, the timing of this entire meltdown could not be more devastatingly unlucky. She wasn't just risking one small deal here. Endorsement contracts universally contain ironclad clauses about conduct, public image, and anything that could embarrass the brand. 3 rash fouls and a wildly controversial comment about a fellow player, all inside 1 week, is precisely the kind of stretch those clauses were written for. And it's not just Reebok watching. Other brands are paying extremely close attention. No company wants to be the next one explaining to angry customers why their athlete is still cashing checks after a week like this one asterisk. That kind of ripple effect can quietly, irrevocably cost an athlete far more than just a single contract.
Hey, the WNBA is the gift that keeps on giving. The latest is a clothesline foul on Sophie Cunningham by DJonai Carrington, the woman that went on an incredibly racist rant against cab driver and, of course, knocked the hell out of Caitlin Clark from behind her rookie year. But that's okay. I'm not mad at that kind of basketball. That's all good. But the problem is after. It was white privilege. I just want you to think logically and please comment on this. White girl goes to the basket. African-American woman knocks her on her ass, clothesliner, knocks her down, upgraded to a flagrant 2. Black girl kicked out, and it's all because of white privilege. Let me know what you think. I think it's typical WNBA stupidity, and I love it.
What makes this entire situation sting even more for Carrington is that none of it had to happen this way. Fouls are a part of basketball. Most are forgotten by the next morning.
I think that there's so much good going on in the WNBA. I think that basketball is being played at the highest level it's ever been. I think our team in specific, we are breaking history right now with the amount of points that we're scoring on back-to-back games. I think the Minnesota game, there's just so much distraction. I think the WNBA media, all we ever do is cover everything except basketball. And it's like what are we doing? There's so much, like, you can talk about other things. I think those are great stories. I think it shows fans, you know, who people are outside of the court. But I also think we got to keep the main thing the main thing. And I think when it comes to the Minnesota game, I think there is so much distraction. But, like, the matchup between Miles and Kelsey was phenomenal. Our team, I mean, that game in particular was a great game. And so I think that there's a lot to be said, and I'm going to let people just do the speaking for themselves. But for me, I want to get back to basketball.